Hi everyone, our new video on polynomial list. This is a C program for adding two polynomial expression by using linked list. Let's start. Starting with the header file stdio.h, malloc.h and conio.h. You can add stdlib.h instead of malloc. Okay. Then this is our node structure user defined data type struct link. Our name of the structure data type is link and it contains three parts. Okay, because for a polynomial expression it is just like 6x square plus 3x plus 2. So we want to store the coefficient of each term and also the power. Is it? So for that, in coefficient and in power and also the link to the next node, struct link star next. So this is the structure definition. Okay, so this is like see, the three parts are there for each node. Three parts are there for coefficient, for power, and this is the link to the next node. Okay, so after that we are just declaring three linked list poly 1, poly 2 and poly. This is for first polynomial expression, this is for second, and this is for getting the resultant polynomial after addition. Okay, all linked lists are null in this time. Then we are going to the function for create that linked list. Okay, this is that function create linked list. So this function is we are calling at the main function for getting the first polynomial and also for getting the second polynomial. Okay, so we will start with our void main function. So in this function there is a character data type ch, that is for if you want to continue or not like that. For that, so here there is a do while statement. So in do, inside the do block, this whole statements are there. So first three statements are for creating a first node for each linked list. Okay, poly 1 struct node, malloc size of struct link, poly 2 and poly also. So after the execution of this three statement, this all, see, this three nodes they have created. So this is our poly 1, this is our poly 2 and this is our poly. Okay, like that three nodes have created. After that we are going to enter our first polynomial first and the second polynomial later. From this line we are going to the function. Okay, so now I am describing about this create function. In this create function, it is coming with a parameter that is a structure data type is. So when we are in the main function, we just created the first node of that poly 1. So this poly 1 is coming with this create function. So the node is here is poly 1. The linked list is here, called it as a node. Okay. So in this, after that, here also there is a ch character type for entering yes or no. Do you want to continue or not? So in this do while, we are entering all the values. Okay, so let's assume that, so this is our poly 1. Now this poly 1 is call it as node. So we created this node. Now the name of this node is node itself. Okay, so let's assume that this is our 3x square plus 7x plus 3. This is our first polynomial. Let's assume. Okay, so we want to enter this coefficient and the power. For that, we are just enter the coefficient. So we are entering node coefficient portion and also the enter the power. Okay, after executing this, we are scanning this all value, and so this node now this contain our first term is coefficient is 3 and our power is 2. Okay, so after this, after the 28th statement, our first node should be like this. Okay, after that we are again creating a node struct link malloc size of struct link, that is node, and that address of this node is also we are assigning to our node next value. Okay, so after the statement, this node should be created and the address of the node should be assigned to this. Let's assume that this is our address, let A. Okay, so this value should be saved here. Okay, after that node equal to node next. Node equal to node means now our node is our second node. Okay, node this. Okay, so now node is this, and also we can do like node next equal to null. Now this next part is null. So after that we are just asking you want to continue or not. Maybe the first polynomial contain only one term. Okay, one term. Otherwise maybe more than one term is there. You can enter y. If ch is equal to y, again this do statement work. Okay, so one node should already have created. After that we are entering the node coefficient and the node power. So now we are entering 7 and also 1. Okay, after that we are again creating one node. So this node created. After that the link is, so this link also should established. Okay, so maybe this is our B. Just assume ABC for our address value. For easiness I am entering like that. So B is here. Now so node equal to node next. Node equal to node next means now this is our new node, not this one. Okay, and also node next equal to null. Again we want to continue our node. Yes, because our poly one contains 3 terms. Okay, so again we are entering the coefficient as 3 and the power as 0 because this is the constant term. Okay, after that just we are again creating one node. So node created and node equal to node next. Now our node is this one, not this one, and also we are entering null value to the next part. Node next equal to null. Then we are entering no n. So after that while loop is exiting from this while loop and also from this create function. Okay, now our linked list is like this. Okay, poly 1 is like this, 3 2 the address of the second node, 7 1 address of the third node, and 3 0 address of this, not this one, address of this node. Okay, after that we are again in void main. We are again enter the second number poly 2. So poly 2 also the create function is also working like that. So after that just assume that our second polynomial is, which one we want to enter? Let's see, 7x square only. Okay, 7x square is only the one term is here. So we are entering the coefficient and we are entering the power and we are creating the other node. So this is the node now. Okay, I am not explaining more because it is same as adding poly 1. Okay, this is same as entering the poly 1, and also we are created this node and the link is also established. Now this is our new node, not this one. Okay, so this do while is executing now. After that we are continuing, or your yes or no we are want to enter. Poly 2 contains only one term, so we are entering no here. So this is our second polynomial is like this. Okay, 7 2 the address of the second node. So this is all about our create linked list function. After that this is for showing our linked list. It is easy, we all know about how to show a linked list. So coming with a node, our link structure, we are continuing until node next equal to null. So while node next not equal to null, we are just entering like 3x square plus 2x plus 3 like that. Node coefficient and node power and node equal to node next. So next we are printing again the next node, again the next node. It is working until node next equal to null. So after each term we want to print the plus also. Okay, so we want to here, so our polynomial is like this, is it? So for that this if statement is there. Okay, so after in void main, after the create poly 1 and create poly 2, we are showing poly 1 and we are showing poly 2. Next we are calling poly add, that is coming with the poly 1 and poly 2 and the poly. Okay, so this is our poly add, poly 1 poly 2 and poly. So our in memory our situation is like this. In poly 1 linked list this data are there, in poly 2 linked list this data are there, and in poly linked list there is a one node. Nothing is there inside the node, but one node has created earlier. So while poly 1 next and poly 2 next, we are repeating this while loop until it reaches both the polynomial reaches the last node. Okay. If the poly 1 next and poly 2 next contains the address value or sometimes the null value. Okay. So both the nodes contain the correct address value, then only this while loop will execute. Okay. So for first node, the poly next, see this first node, poly next value contains the, poly 1 next value contains the address of the second node, and poly 2 next value is also contains the, see this is our address value. Okay. Contains the correct, this poly 1 next is also a contains, contains correct value, that means it is true and this is true. True and true means it's true. Okay. After we are checking poly 1 power or poly 2 power is high. So our point is our control is now here. Okay. First node of poly 1 and the first node of poly 2. So poly 1 power is greater than or poly 2 power is greater than. Here both are 2. Okay. So 2 equal to 2. Okay. Let's assume that maybe poly 1 power is greater. Okay. Let's assume that our second, here our, in actual example, our second polynomial is 7x square. Let's assume that our second polynomial was 7x plus 3. So the first polynomial contains the power 2 and second polynomial contains the power 1. So at that time our poly 1 power is greater. Okay. So after this, so this is our poly 1 and this is our poly 2. Then the result, the after addition, our polynomial contains, the resultant polynomial contains 3x square plus 7 plus 7, 14x plus 6. Okay. So there should be the second power 2 term. For that, we are, if poly 1 power greater than poly 2 power, we are first poly power equal to poly 1 poly power. So if it is, there is a greater term, if the poly 1 power is great, if we want to add that term into our resultant polynomial, so poly 1 power greater than poly 2 power, we are just entering poly power equal to poly 1 power. If this is example is like this, our first node should be 3 and also 2. That is this statement. Poly power equal to poly 1 power. Poly coefficient equal to poly 1 coefficient. This should be here and the power is also should be here. Okay. Then poly equal to poly 1. Poly equal to poly 1 next. So because this node already added. So now our point is to. So now our point is here now. Poly 1 second node. Okay, so that is actually this if statement, but in the correct example, here we have taken only our second polynomial is 7x square and our actual example is poly 1 is 3x square plus 7x plus 3 and the second polynomial is 7x square. That means our first poly 1 power and the poly 2 power is same. So this is for greater than and this is for less than. So this statement, this block should be executed. We are poly power equal to poly 1 power. So this is going to execute poly power equal to poly 1 power because our result is 3x square plus 7x square means 10x square. Is it? So our power should be 2. Then poly coefficient should be after the addition poly 1 coefficient plus poly 1 coefficient plus poly 2 coefficient. So 3 plus 7. 3 plus 7 equal to 10. Okay. Again so we have already added the first term of poly 1 and the first term of poly 2. So our point, both the points should be, we have already added the first node. So we are now reached the second node of poly 1 and the second node of poly 2. Okay. Next, we are creating one extra node for poly next. Okay, so we have created this node and just linked this node and we just poly next equal to null. Okay. Now this while loop is again going to execute. Okay. Poly next. Now the poly next. Poly 1 next is not. Poly 1 next contains the correct address value, that is it is true, and poly 2 next is poly 2. Now the poly 2 is the second node. Poly 2 next is what? Null value. So true and false. The AND statement true and false is false. So we are exiting from this while loop. So again we are checking, maybe because we have only added first term, okay, maybe there are two other terms for our first polynomial. For that, while poly 1 next or poly 2 next, maybe one polynomial we have already added that only one term of poly 2, but there are two remaining terms in the poly 1 linked list. So we want to add that also. For that, this while statement is there. Poly 1 next, see, poly 1 next, here this is the poly 1 now, okay. So this is our poly 1 now and this is our poly 2 now. So poly 1 next is not equal to null, but poly 2 is null but also. So this is OR statement. So only one, this is true and this is false. True or false means true itself. So we are entering to the inside the while loop. If poly 1 next, so poly 1 next is true, okay, because poly 2 next is not, poly 2 next is null, because we have already added the only one term of poly 2. We want to add this other remaining term of poly 1. For that, if poly 1 next, this is true because it contains the correct address value of the third node. So poly power equal to poly 1 power. So we want to add this to here 1 and also the coefficient, poly coefficient equal to poly 1 coefficient, okay, 7. So poly 1 equal to poly 1 next. Now we are jumping to this node. Now poly 1 is this, okay. Again after that, this if is the and this if is not correct because poly 2 next is null, so this is not going to execute. And after that, we are creating one more node to our poly linked list and we are connecting this connection. We are establishing this connection, okay. Now our poly is here now, okay. This was our poly node. Now this is our poly and poly next is null now here after this 3 statement. Again we are coming here our while loop. Now poly 1 next is also contains the correct value, so it is true, and poly 2 next is again this null value. So poly 1 next is true, that means we are entering the while loop again. So if poly 1 next is correct, it is true because it contains the address value. So again we are adding this third term of poly 1 to our resultant linked list. So poly power equal to poly 1 power. So this is 0 and poly coefficient is equal to poly 1 coefficient, okay, 3. Then poly equal to poly 1 next. Now we have reached here, okay. Again we are creating this, not going to execute it if poly 2 contains more than terms than poly 1, okay. So after that, we are creating one more node here for resultant linked list and we are establishing this connection and our poly next should be null now, okay. After that, we are again going to this while loop. Now our poly next is also null. This is our poly now. This poly next is also null and poly 2 next is also null. So 0 or 0 means 0. So while 0 means it is not going to execute. We are exiting from the while loop and we are exiting from the poly add. So now we have added all poly 1 and poly 2. So our resultant, result is 10x square. This is for second term 7x plus 3, okay. Poly 1 is 3x square plus 7x plus 3. Poly 2 is 7x square, okay. So our result is like this, understood. So after that, poly add, we can get the polynomial linked list and the poly linked list. The result is in the poly linked list. So after showing this poly, we can get the resultant polynomial, okay. If we want to continue more, or if you want to add more two polynomials, you can enter y here, okay. You can enter y here, otherwise you can stop the execution. Okay, so that is all about the polynomial addition using linked list. Execute the program. We are entering first, enter the first number or enter the first polynomial expression. So maybe enter the coefficient first. We are entering the coefficient first 3, enter the power 2. Okay, if you want to continue, yes. And our second term is 5 and the power is 1. Okay, third term, no third term. Okay, so I pressed N. So enter the second coefficient 5 power 2 5x square, and you want to continue, yes. Enter coefficient 6 and the power is 0, the constant term. I'm not continuing. Okay, so first number is 3x square plus 5x raised to 1, and the second number is 5x square plus 6x raised to 0, that means 5x square plus 6. Okay, so added polynomial is 8x square, 5 plus 3 8x square plus 5x raised to 1 plus 6x raised to 0. Okay, so this is the result after adding two polynomials. I am not continuing. Add two more numbers, no. Okay, so we are exiting from this execution. Okay, thank you.